welcome back to our channel AP&TeamE. Today we're taking a road trip to Alexandria Bay, and right now we're on Uncle Sam's boat tour. We're doing a tour around the Thousand Islands. I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful scenery of this beautiful island. Here's Emma and Ethan. He is taking a nap.
Over before we get too far away from our docks. The first being how to use this lovely orange life jacket here. And I did get a volunteer. I have Zach. Everyone say hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Zach, are you good at following directions? Family, what do we think? Yes? Yeah, all right, we got some head shaking. All right, so it's a yoke style jacket, so there's no correct front or back to this, so it's gonna be hard for us to mess this part up. You're gonna open it up, put it over your head. You might wanna move your hat. I'll hold it if you like. There we go, perfect. Awesome. Now you're going to take that orange strap and wrap it around your back. Then you're going to clip it there in the front on that little ring. And now you can tighten it to size. Perfect. Awesome, Zach. Thank you. So that's how you guys wear it in case of an emergency. A crew member such as myself or our newest crew member, Zach, here, will be handing them out to you guys. Thank you, Zach. You can take it off. Round of applause for Zach, everybody. Now, there's no smoking of any kind aboard this vessel. That includes but is not limited to cigarettes, cigars, and vapes. The benches you guys are sitting on up top here, they are not bolted down. I know some of them have little bolts in them. Don't let that fool you. They are not bolted down. Do not stand on them or sit on the back of them, because you will fall and I will probably laugh. And lastly, the St. Lawrence River is one of the cleanest rivers in the world. We do ask that you help us keep it that way. Please make sure that all of your trash goes into the trash bins located throughout the vessel. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the rest of our crew aboard today. So again, my name is Caitlin. Downstairs on first deck in concessions, I have hot dogs, beer, wine. I have slushies for the kids, daiquiris for the adults. We have a special going on, river water. It's pretty good. So help your way down there anytime. Don't worry, it's not real river water. Help your way down there at any point during my tour. I will be taking a couple breaks so you guys can stretch your legs as well. So I'm going to get going here. On our left-hand side, we're passing by a smaller island known as Casino Island. Now that once held the first and only legalized gambling facility here in the Thousand Islands region. Now it's no longer standing there because after just 2 short years, it was destroyed. Rumor has it the wives did it. Now Casino Island is a part of Scenic View Park. Now this next part of the tour we're going to be going through is known as Millionaire's Row. So during the turn of the century, about 100 millionaires moved to this area. They built 30 to 50 room homes. Now some of those homes we will get to see today on our tour. However, some of them are no longer standing. A couple of different reasons why. Some just fell into disrepair because they were over 100 years old, whereas some of them were actually intentionally destroyed by the owners. During the Great Depression, homeowners burned their homes on purpose. They did this insurance company for the money. They explained that they didn't have any money either. Now you might hear me mention fires a lot today as well. So when a fire happens on one of these islands, by the time the fire department on the mainland gets the call, makes it to the marina, gets on their boat, and then all the way out to that island, the structure's already gone. So their main job isn't to save the structures, it's just to prevent the fires from spreading. Now our fire department does have a good sense of humor. They've named their boats accordingly. Their fastest boat being the Last Chance. And we have the No Hope and the Long Gone. Now the first island here in Millionaire's Row is Cherry Island. And At the head of Sherry Island, we have the Twin Pines Treehouse. That's that large green home there. Now it got the name Twin Pines because there once stood an identical home right next to it. Obviously that second home is no longer there. It was too close together, so they deemed it a fire hazard, so they had to destroy the second home. The foundation for that second home, however, is now used as the in-ground swimming pool. Now the owner of those homes was Nathan Strauss and Abraham Abrams. They were the co-founders of the A&S department store, which we now know today as Macy's. These gentlemen were so close that they worked together, vacationed together, and lived in identical homes. Now the next home here is Casa Blanca, meaning White House. Very original with our names here on the St. Lawrence. So White House, Casa Blanca, was built in the early 1800s by a Cuban sugar plantation owner. Now if you're interested, you can rent out Casa Blanca. Typically it's rented out for weddings. That's just a couple thousand a night if you do decide to rent it out. If you end up renting it out though, it does contain original furnishing from the steamboat era. And next I'll point out this unusual looking seawall. You notice the gargoyles, dragons, and lion there, and their eyes and mouths are painted red. So this was done to ward off evil spirits from entering from Canada. Now when I say spirits, I don't mean those goblins and ghouls. It's actually alcohol spirits. This was all a facade, however. During the Prohibition, they would place oil lanterns in those wet keyhole openings to signal the rum runners that it was safe for them to cross the river. Now this last home I'll talk about here on Sherry Island is the Winley Lodge. It was built by Frederick and Nellie Fraser of South Bay, New York. And they built this home for one main reason. They wanted to be closer to their favorite country club, which is located just across the way. Now in a little bit, probably about 4 minutes and 38 seconds, we'll be passing by that country club and I'll be sure to point it out to you. Now this next island coming up on our tour is going to be on our right-hand side. In just a moment at the water line of Devil's Up, and you're going to want to look towards the water line, you're going to see a small opening there. Now that small opening we see over there, right at the water line, that leads to a 34-foot cave that extends well into the island. Now that cave is where the notorious river pirate Bill Johnston hid out for 3 days and nights after sinking the British mail steamer the Sir Robert Peel during the Patriots War. Now Bill Johnston was eventually caught by the authorities. His daughter Kate went to bring him supplies, and when she did, she was followed. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. Now he only ended up serving 2 short years because he did receive a pardon. This was under the condition that he become the lighthouse keeper of Rock Island Lighthouse, located just 5 miles ahead in Fisher's Landing, New York. Ironically, it's also right where he sank that ship. So he spent the rest of his days looking over where he sank the ship, and he died. Now back over to our right, we have Wheeler Island coming up. Now, Wheeler Island once had a very popular boatel on it known as the Walunet Inn.
Yeah, they had that black.
Now you might be wondering, well, what is a boatel? It's similar to a hotel or motel on the mainland, but it's only accessible by boat. Now the inn is no longer standing. In the 1970s it was destroyed by a fire, but that home that we see right in front of us here is where the inn once stood. Everything over on our left-hand side is the mainland. It's actually specifically Keewaydin State Park. One of 26 state parks we have here in the region. Is the national headquarters for this area as well. Now you can access Keewaydin on the mainland, like I said, so if you're interested in visiting it, it's a pretty good way to spend your day. Brown bear here in the Thousand Islands region. I have been asked. No, it is not real. Right below that brown bear, though, you're going to see a porch. That porch is actually known as a widow's walk or a widow's watch. So wives would wait there. They'd look up and down the river, waiting for their sailors to return home. Now, instead, on a clear day like today, you can actually see up and down the river about 5 miles. Now, Comfort Lodge was originally built by a family from Santa Barbara. They bought the island and began building that home because one of their daughters did have a terminal illness. So they decided to build the home as a comfort to her and the family while they were dealing with that. Now we're just making past two
Part of this,
I know, it's huge, beautiful.
So this is a very popular boating marina here in the area, mostly because it is very affordable, at least for marinas here. It's about $1,400 or so for the entire summer. Now with that being said, there is a catch to it. It's about a 3 to 5 year wait list for a boat slip. Now later on in our tour, we're going to be passing by one of our smaller man-made islands. And at that point, we're going to give you guys all the details on how you too could build your own island. Now off in the distance, you can see the first span of the Thousand Islands Bridge System. We have 5 spans total. The one we're looking at here is the American span. We have 1 American span, 1 international span, and then 3 consecutive Canadian spans. Later on in our tour, we'll be going under the 5th and final span. Now the one we're looking at here is a suspension bridge. So on a windy day, or when a large truck trailer is going over it, you can actually see it spinning slightly. Now with that, you're actually able to also walk across that bridge with a beautiful view. However, if you're afraid of heights, I do not recommend it. Now the St. Lawrence Seaway that we're traveling on right now is the largest and longest inland navigable seaway in the world. It stretches 2,342 miles long. That's starting at the ocean, going all the way to Lake Superior in Minnesota. Now that's not the St. Lawrence River itself, that is specifically the seaway. Now this seaway has 2 types of ships. It is salty, which is our favorite. So it's salty. So unfortunately, you will not be seeing salty floor. And because this is all fresh water, it does freeze over during the winter. During a blinding snowstorm, now it hit Pullman Shoal, and when it did, it put a 74-foot gap down the middle of the vessel. So as you can imagine, it did take on water very quickly. Now the crew They tried in vain to say that the women, when they were unable to do so, they abandoned ship and went over to our coastal station. Now, luckily, no lives were lost during the sinking of the ship, but this now considered a level 5 class master dive. It's very dangerous and actually have to receive special permission from the Coast Guard to find it. Now, the home we see on our left there, right above that seawall, is Hopewell Falls. It's currently owned by the grandson of P.J. Noble, who purchased it last year, 2021, for $3.5 million. Now, prior to that, we worked with the Boldt family for many years, and was originally gifted to older Barry Boldt as a wedding gift from her father, George Boldt. Now, Pullman Island is coming up, named after its first owner, George Pullman. George Pullman was the inventor of the sleeper-style rail car. Now, this island is also responsible for a lot of the popularity we got here in the region. Now, when first owner George Pullman was friends with President Ulysses S. Grant, and prior to being instructed on it, George hosted the president for a week's vacation. Now, with the president being here, he brought around a lot of passengers, so this then became the #1 vacationing spot for millionaires in America. Now, off in the distance, that yellow building there is the Thousand Island Country Club I mentioned just a little bit earlier, also located on Boldt Island. Now, this next island here is known as Nolly Island, and it has some of the oldest homes in the region dating back to the early 80s. This home we see here, it was so cool when we first built it. It is actually bridged and was then brought up to the bottom of the river, and was held solely in place by the weight of the second and the third floor. Now we're coming up on Friendly Island. It was once owned by Tom Quakenbush. He was the founder of Empire Air, which was eventually turned into American Airlines. Now we said that Friendly Island is no reason why sailors walk along the St. Lawrence River. Now the Adrian home in the house is not a Jewish home. We're not that intentional that that's actually the foundation of the British home. This is one of those homes that was connected to the like the boat, however, is the original structure of the house. Showing his love and affection this way so much that he also decided to purchase his mother-in-law island, the small island. Now the next structure we see looks kind of like a sand castle there. That is known as the ultimate tower of the children's playground. Now today we probably better known as the Panties. That's the best children's room, small space for bowling alley, small theater, and audience. It is also the only structure on the island that is open to the daylight out of the line of the solar. Now the castle itself, construction began in 1899. Why did the University of yesterday the cost was $2.5 million. Today we go to $8 million. Now the castle is 70,000 square feet, 6-story high, 120 rooms, 45 bedrooms, and 365 windows. One for every day of the year. Now the first floor is going to be used as a grand social area, so the ballroom, the dining room, things like that. Second floor is going to be Boldt family suites, and third and elevator floor is cash. Now the first structure you see there is right near the Botanic Gardens. That is the Carry. This is where types of different She too wanted to have her own island. So George purchased Hart Island for Louise. Now when he did this, he did two things. He changed the spelling of the island from H-A-R-T to H-E-A-R-T, and he blasted away part of the island to create the shape of a Valentine's heart. Romantic, right? So this couple, they were madly in love, and Louise helped a lot in the construction of the castle and the design of it. But unfortunately, before the castle was complete, it was about 95% complete, Louise caught tuberculosis and she had some complications with it, and she ended up passing away at the young age of 42. Now when she passed away, George Boldt was heartbroken, so he sent a telegram to the workers that said, "Stop all work, Louise has died." So those workers, they laid down their tools. They laid down their tools and they left the island, never to return. George then forbid the rest of his family from ever stepping foot on Hart Island. Now the castle and the island fell into disrepair. It was subject to a lot of vandalism. That wasn't until it was eventually traded over to E.J. Noble during a larger landmass deal. Now E.J. Noble was a friend with the Boldt family, so he too didn't want anything to do with the island or the castle. Pick back up with our tour here. So over on our right hand side, we're passing by a very large rock that's sticking out of the water. There's a tree on that rock. This might surprise you, but that rock is in fact an island. That is known as Elephant Cabin's Back Island. Now it is for sale, so if you're interested in real estate here in the area, you can purchase that rock. It's been on the market for about 4 or 5 years and there have been no offers on it. The asking price is just $99,000. Not sure why no one wants to buy it. Now, a couple of us crew members here at Uncle Sam's, we've been talking about investing in the world's smallest water park. So if you too would like to invest, let me know. We're starting to GoFundMe soon. Now, I mentioned earlier when we passed by one of our man-made islands that we're going to be passing by another smaller one. So on our right, we're going to pass by Crow Island. It's a small flat island with a brown home on it and a flagpole. Now, the owner of Crow Island, he's a local man from Bay, and he decided to build his own island all the way out here because he wanted to escape the busy streets of Alexandria Bay during the summer. The tourists just got to be a little bit too much for him. Joke's on him, we bring boatloads of tourists by every single day. You acquire a group of shoals that are fairly close together. You're then going to build a seawall. You then pump the water out, then fill it in with rocks and dirt, and there you have your island. Now, unfortunately, they are no longer allowing that here in the region, so you won't see any more man-made islands being built. Now, folks, we are coming up on our only underwater feature on our tour today. So, luckily for us, it is a very clear day out today, so we should be able to see it from either side of the boat. So you're going to want to carefully look over. No swimming today. I believe Captain Molly's slowing down just a little bit for us. So you can see this from either side. So I'll let you guys know it's passing the front of the boat right about now. I don't know if anyone can see it in the water where I'm at.
Look at Mommy.
About halfway down now.
I don't know.
Alright, about 3/4. And we just passed over. Did anyone get a good look at that? Anyone?
No.
No one? You probably won't because it's the borderline. It's an imaginary line, guys. You're not going to see a very long red line at the bottom there, no. So we are now in Canada.
Mommy, so much fun.
Now, the borderline was created after the War of 1812 during the Treaty of Ghent. And in this treaty, it said that no one island could be both in Canada and in the U.S. So they quite literally zigzagged the line throughout the islands here. Now, in doing so, Canada got 2/3 of the islands, and the U.S. got 1/3. Now, that might not seem fair, but in landmass, it is fairly equal. Cell phone towers. There are 2 main cell phone towers here in the region, one in Bay, one in Rockport. So depending on your cell phone service, you guys might want to change your phone onto airplane mode. I will let you guys know as soon as we get back over to the U.S. side. Like I said, it all depends on what phone service you have. I know every time I'm over here, I get that phone or that text that says "Welcome to Canada," so I just don't want anyone getting those roaming charges. Now, the first island I'm going to talk about over here on this side, it's going to be on our left-hand side, and it's known as Pompelli Island. Now, at the top of Pompelli Island, you can see a cross there. So right below that cross, there's a stone that has an inscription in memory of Francis A. Stout, waiting for the resurrection. Now, Francis Stout invested his entire life savings as well as his retirement fund into purchasing that island and creating plans to build a home. Now, unfortunately, right after he purchased the island, before he was able might be an eagle, might be an osprey, I can't tell from here. So anyways, right before he was able to build a home on that island, he unfortunately passed away. His family, however, decided to honor him by paying taxes on the island for 100 years. Now, in doing so, it created the restriction where no one else was able to build on the island. Now, those 100 years, they are up. But it's owned by the Canadian government now. They continue to honor that tradition, so you will not see any structures being built. They're actually able to swim. Now, we are beginning to go through what was the old shipping channel. This area is no longer used as the main seaway. But you're going to notice some of those channel markers are still up. We have two types of channel markers. We have the red ones and we have the green ones. Now these ones look a little different than the ones over on the main seaway. The ones on the main seaway over there had shapes to them. They had the triangle and the square. So that was done later on for those captains that were colorblind. Where over here they just have the red and green because, like I said, it is no longer used as the main shipping channel. Now here on the St. Lawrence we go by the 3 R's, which is red, right returning. So if a red channel marker is on your right hand side, you are returning from sea. Now over on our right hand side we can actually see one of those older red channel markers. And if you look on Tar Island kind of towards the waterline a little bit above, you're going to see some totem poles. Now the owner of Tar Island, he was one of the investors or creators of the Alaskan pipeline, and while he was over there in Alaska, he was gifted those totem poles from the tribe there. So he decided to place them on display on his island. Now at one point there was about 5 of them. This year I believe I've only seen about 3 out. Now just behind Tar Island, all of the land we see there is the mainland in Canada. More specifically, it's Rockport, Ontario. Now Rockport is the sister town of Alexandria Bay. It is located directly across the river from us. Don't bother looking over because we're not going to see the bay from here. We do have quite a few islands in the way. Now it's not the twin sister, it's the little sister because it's a lot smaller than us. Its average population in the winter is about 300 and in the summer it's about 1,500. Now they do accommodate those guests that like to stay on their boats in the summer. So the marina we see here is known as Huck Marina. And that black building was finally completed last year. Now it has showers. Now I like to point out the scuba shop. So that blue shop that we're coming up on right on the waterline, that is the scuba shop for the town. And now you're going to want to look over to our left hand side. We're going to see some buoys floating in the water. Now that is basically directly in front of the scuba shop. We're going right between the buoys and the scuba shop. And I'm pointing out those buoys because that is actually where a sunken ferry is. So prior to the bridge system being completed, they had a ferry that would take passengers from Rockport to A Bay. Now, after the bridge system was created, they no longer needed this service, so they decided to take one of these ferries and intentionally sink it. So they sank the ferry directly in front of the dive shop, so it can now be used as a practice dive location. So like I said, the buoys on our left, that is marking where that sunken ferry is. And we do have a lot of freshwater dives here in the St. Lawrence. So if you are interested in attempting one, you're able to go to our dive shop we have in A Bay. It's one of our captains that actually runs it, and he can teach you all the things you need to know about how to dive and actually take you down on one of those dives. Personally, I've never done it, don't think I would, but if you're interested, you have the option to do so. Church with the black roof there. Now I like to mention this because it did play a part during the Prohibition. So travelers from America, they would dress as nuns and priests, and they would come over to St. Brendan's Church and they'd go to something called fellowship. Now they would attend fellowship and then they would go to the basement of the church and they get mason jars full of holy water. They would then bring that holy water back over to the U.S. Now when the authorities stopped these nuns and priests, they really weren't questioned on what was in the jars. They just said it's holy water. Come to find out, that church actually had a distillery in its basement. So that holy water was not quite holy water. Now this next area we're traveling through is known as the Canadian Palisades. So it's similar to Millionaire's Row on the American side. However, you're going to notice that although these homes are just as nice as the ones over there, you know, they're more modern. They're a lot newer here. And that's because they had some restrictions over on this side about building homes. Some of those are still in place. So one of them being that you can only cut down enough trees for the foundation of your home as well as the walkway that you need. You can't simply cut down the trees to make the view of the river any better. So a lot of these homes do have trees directly in front of their windows. Now this area of the river gets about 200, 250 feet deep. Now there's no average depth to the St. Lawrence River. The best way I can describe it is that it's like an underwater mountain range. It was formed by glaciers. So in areas like this where it's 200, 250 feet deep, in other areas it's only about 6 to 12 feet deep. All of those things once I do pick back up once we get closer to the 5th and final span. So in the meantime, feel free to stretch your legs, say hi to my friends down at concession, or just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Mommy, I have popcorn. Mommy, I like popcorn.
Here is a speedboat.
Pretty fast.
It's pretty fast, yeah. And it's beautiful today too. This is such an amazing view.
Another one. Look like a tour.
Uncle Sam boat tour is the best.
We got an island over there. The Canadian.
There's a lot of small islands. We're in the Canadian over. Probably like 10 minutes ago we crossed over to Canada, right? It's really breathtaking. It's an amazing view. And there's so much to learn here, right? Our guide tour, she's amazing. She explained everything that you need to know about the island.
A lot of history.
And there's a lot of history behind of it. This is our Uncle Sam boat. Emma, did you enjoy the boat tour?
Yeah.
Yeah? You have lots of fun, right? Ethan is sleeping.
I'm there, popcorn. I'm you.
So you got a popcorn and juice? Yeah.
It's an amazing view from here. We're actually at the back of the boat, so you get to see how the water is, the beautiful view of the river, and we have our American flag. Did you enjoy your popcorn? I know, we're moving pretty fast. Yeah, that's the engine in the back of the boat.
Now on our right hand side, that large beautiful home we see there is Eagle Point Estates. Now there are 5 man-made waterfalls throughout there. They're not on today, but one of them actually goes right through the bottom of the home, and you can see through it because the floor is clear in some areas. Now it is pretty cool to look at. It was featured on HGTV, so if you're interested in doing a virtual tour, you can actually look it up online. Now this next island is Surveyor's Island. Now it was once used to store supplies during the construction of the bridge system. However, today it is owned by the Wambach family. Now the name Abby Wambach may sound familiar to you, especially if you're from Rochester. So she scored the game-winning goal in Athens, Greece during the Olympics. She's known as the girl with the golden cleat. Now that island, Surveyor's Island, is owned by her grandparents. Now we are approaching the 5th and final span of the bridge system. So this span is known as the Ivy Lee span. It's one of the 3 over here in Canada. In just a few moments we'll be passing by the other ones, and I'll point those out to you guys. Now the bridge system the project started by Roosevelt. Before he was president, he was the governor of New York. So he began the construction of the bridge system to bring about jobs to the area right after the Great Depression. Now, originally, he didn't get a lot of backing with this because it led from one dirt road in America to another dirt road in Canada. So they honestly kind of thought it was useless. And it wasn't until later on in the 1950s that the highway system was created, and we then got 81 on the American side and 401 on the Canadian side. Now, it was completed in 1935, and it took about 5 years to complete. They continued to maintain the bridge system using tolls. Now, if you're interested, you can sign a 5-year contract to work on the bridge system. Those little cage-like things we see there underneath, that is actually where those workers will hand paint and hand scrape the bridge system. Now, once we get past it, you're gonna, if you look back, you can actually see the 2 different shades of green. So this is the Span River we're gonna be traveling through. It's known as Whirlpool Channel. So if you look over the side of the boat very carefully, don't worry, it's not a joke this time, guys, I promise. You're actually going to be able to start seeing whirlpools forming in the water. So these small whirlpools form in the water, and it's a very swift area here. It's actually the only part of the river that does not freeze over. Now, this is created because there's a very large drop here, similar to the Niagara Falls plunge pool. It goes from about 15 feet deep all the way to 150 feet deep, extremely quickly. Now, because of that really quick drop, it creates that whirlpool motion. Now that brings me to my next point here as well. We're gonna start to turn into something known as the wrong way channel. Don't panic, we are not going the wrong way. It got this name because the river begins to flow in the opposite direction. So this is also caused because of that large drop that I just mentioned. You can also see how tight those turns are down there. So this is mostly why they had to move the shipping channel, because I cannot even imagine trying to navigate one of those large ships that are 740 feet down there. It's basically impossible. Now, at the time when they used this shipping channel, the ships were a lot smaller. They were only around 200 feet. They were steamships, but even then, it'd be difficult to navigate through that area. Now, directly ahead of us, you can see a very large tower sticking out. That tower is known as the Thousand Islands Sky Deck. Now, if you're interested in visiting the Sky Deck, it's 350 feet high. You get a 360-degree view of the area. It's located on the Hill Island. It's open on the weekends. So if you have a visit, you just take that elevator all the way to the top there, and you can take that fun little water slide all the way down. I'm kidding, those are emergency stairs.
That was the Canadian. So that's the internet. No, that's on the Canada side. So that's after a level.
Now on our left, we're passing by Georgina National Park. It's one of the national parks here in Canada. Here you can see the Rainbow Arch span. So now you have seen 4 out of the 5 spans of the Thousand Islands Bridge System. The only span we're not seeing today is the international span, but don't worry, you're not missing much. It's only about the size of our boat. Now that small island there with the 15 on it is known as Tom Thumb. It's the smallest island we have here in the region. And then the 15 that you see, that is how many people could fit on the island at one time. Also kidding, it is the speed limit. And it's kilometers per hour, guys. We're in Canada. Now you might be wondering, well, why is that considered an island? So it meets the 3 requirements we have here in this region. Now this isn't throughout the world, this is just for the Thousand Islands region. So those 3 requirements are that there's some type of tree or shrubbery on it, even if it's dead, 3 square feet of space, and above water 365 days of the year. So Tom Thumb, as well as Elephant's Back, meets all of those requirements. Anything less than that would be what we call a shoal. Now at this point, I like to play a little game. Show of hands, how many of you guys... Now coming up on our left, we're going to be passing by one of my favorite homes along the shore. It's a very bright pink home. It's going to be hard for you to miss it. It's nicknamed the Pepto-Bismol house, but it's actually known as the halfway house. Now that bright pink home is actually owned by a Canadian Football Hall of Famer, Whit Tucker. He played for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Now there are some rumors going around about why he painted his house that color. The first rumor being that it matches his favorite resorts in Hawaii. And then the second rumor, which I like a little bit more, is that he painted his house that color because his granddaughters asked him to. That one makes more sense to me. Now doing this job, I do get asked some very interesting questions. Some of them, and I don't like to say this, but quite frankly, some of them are just stupid questions. But I'm going to go over some of those questions so you know what not to ask me, because I really won't know how to answer them if you do. And then I'm going to go over the most common questions I do get asked that are actually pretty good questions to ask about this area. So what not to ask me, one that I often get asked, what time does your 10 o'clock tour leave? How long is your 1 hour tour? Is there air conditioning on the top deck? Will I see the Statue of Liberty? Is that the Golden Gate Bridge? And my favorite, while I'm on the mic, do you work here? If anyone is wondering, yes, I do work here. That's actually kind of funny. We have one of our older tour guys downstairs on the first deck, Reagan. He's not allowed to give tours anymore. And that's actually because when people would ask him these questions, you do drink the water, you won't grow a third eye or die or anything like that. But we don't usually recommend it. Here on board, in most of the islands, they bring tanks of water or have bottled water. That's because we have two types of swimmers here in the St. Lawrence. We have piers and we have liars. Now there's a few reasons why the river is so clean. Let's see. Now this was not always the case. Prior to the 1970s, the river was actually very polluted. People didn't want to go in it or near it. That was until a man named Barry Freed from Wellesley Island began a campaign known as the Save the River campaign. Now this campaign does still go on today. A couple times during the year, you're going to see some divers out here cleaning up the river. But when he came up with this campaign, it was originally to stop the large freight ships from traveling the seaway during the winter, because when they would travel, they were breaking up the ice. The ice was hitting the shorelines and it was damaging them. So once Barry Freed was able to accomplish this, he decided to focus the campaign on something else, which was the pollution. So he ended up getting a lot of backing for this campaign. A lot of locals in the area were able to support him, and he ended up cleaning the river up quite a bit. It actually caught national news attention, so much so that a famous journalist known as Barbara Walters, Abby Hoffman, was a member of the Chicago 7. For those of you wondering what that is, they were indicted for initiating riots during the Democratic Convention. So he fled from authorities, and when he fled, he received facial reconstructive surgery on his way over to Wellesley Island. So he was able to hide out for many years. And when he finally turned himself in, because of all the great work he did here in the area, they actually took some time off of his prison sentence. Ultimately, he only spent about 4 years in federal prison. Now the next common question I get asked, what do these islands do for electricity? So 90% of these islands use something called a hydroelectric power cable. Now these power cables cost $150 to $200 a foot, and they are laid at the bottom of the river. So they connect the mainland over to the islands. Now for those ones that don't use those hydroelectric power cables, they use generators, or like Tom Thumb, they really don't need electricity on them. Now in just a moment, we'll be passing by one of those hydroelectric power cables. It's going to be on our left-hand side. And when we pass by it, it's going to start off as a yellow cable and go black into the river. Now I will point it out to you guys, as soon as we pass by, it's probably another like 30 seconds or so. But I do get asked, well, why don't they just use solar panels out here? Well, some homes are beginning to a little bit, but most of these are actually summer homes, so they're not really visited during the winter. So with that, your anchor, which is going to cost you money, or you're going to have to pay for that cable to get fixed, which is going to cost you even more money. Either way, it's not a good scenario, so I do not recommend anchoring in areas that you're not familiar with. notice that a lot of these homes use an A-frame design. So because of the harsh winters we get here, they picked the A-frame design. So in the winter when it does snow a lot, the snow will slide right off of the roof rather than caving it in. No one likes to come back in the spring to a new sunroof. I mentioned rum runners a little bit earlier and other ways that they would smuggle alcohol over to the United States during the Prohibition. But we actually are coming up on something known as Smuggler's Cave or Smuggler's Cove. And there are 7 different entrances and exits to this area coming up. So they actually use this area to avoid authorities during the Prohibition. The rum runners, which were typically between the age of 10 and 13 years old, they would tie crates of alcohol. This also stopped working, and that's because when the authorities would look at the marina, they saw a ton of boats that were 2 different colors. Now we are beginning to approach the 5th and final span once again, so we're going to be going right where we just were. So rather than repeating myself and talking about all the stuff you guys already heard, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a longer break here, and I will pick back up when we get closer to the castle. But before I do go on this final break, the owner of Uncle Sam's does like us to introduce ourselves a little bit better. So again, my name is Caitlin. This is my first year here at Uncle Sam's. I actually used to be afraid of boats, but that ship has sailed. Now I really enjoy my job and all of the awful puns that come with it. I'm a local from the area. I'm actually on Fort Drum. My husband is stationed up here. So I figured while we're here temporarily, I might as well do something that sounds fun. I was like, I'm going to be on the river all summer. So that's how I ended up here. Now guys, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask.
The bridge that you guys are seeing in the back is the Thousand Island Bridge. Over here is 3 of the sailboats. And we're actually turning back to go to the Boldt Castle. That will be our next stop. But right now we're taking a break and just enjoying the view until our tour guide will start explaining to us more into details and information and histories about the Boldt Castle, which we will be stopping next. Ethan is taking a nap. Yeah, he's tired. Emma's all wide awake.
Uncle Sam's boat.
You're on Uncle Sam's boat? Yes, we're on the tour boat.
Oh, the real boat.
Yes.
The real boat.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Did you like the tour?
Yeah.
You gonna come again?
Yeah.
The islands are very beautiful.
What happened? Your hat fly off your head and went
Oh no, yeah, your hat flew off, remember?
and it went overboard and we got
It went overboard, but we got it. It got stuck on the second deck, right?
Little boy, bring it back for her.
Did you say thank you? Okay.
That's because when his wife would get mad at him, he could grab a 6-pack, his fishing pole, whistle for the dog, and quite literally run to another country.
Mommy.
the downside of having two islands in two different countries is you have to pay the taxes for both. Now this next part of the river we're going through is known as the mud flats. It's a fairly shallow section of the river. It has a mucky bottom. It's very good for fishing. It's only about 6 to 12 feet deep here in this area. Now we have over 80 species of freshwater fish here in the St. Lawrence. So the walleye, largemouth bass, smalleye bass, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, northern pike. Just to name.
This is a beautiful view of the Boldt Castle we will be stopping right now. Look how amazing this is. Our boat is actually docking here. So once we get off here, we will take a tour around the castle, and then we'll take back the same Uncle Sam boat back to where we started. This is a beautiful, beautiful view of this amazing castle. Once you came off the boat, you can spend as much time as you like until later on before the end of the boat tour. You would take back the boat right here and go back to where you took it from. So you have a good amount of time to spend at the castle and took as much pictures as you like and make some beautiful memories with your friends and families and loved ones. Here is it, guys. We came off Uncle Sam boat tour and we're here at the dock, and this is where you get to this is the entrance to go into the Boldt Castle. So we already purchased our tickets online, so once you have your tickets you could just go ahead. If not, there is a booth that sells a ticket for you to purchase. So once we get into the Boldt Castle, yeah, I'll give you guys a beautiful view of the castle inside and outside. Here is it, guys. We're on our way going to the castle. Since it's summer, they have some beautiful flowers. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Where are you going?
The Boldt Castle.
Yes, the Boldt Castle.
Honey dinner.
Over here is information and guest service.
Oh man, that's just
Views from the windows of servants. Where they ate.
First, we will go to the powerhouse before we go into the castle. So we're making our way going to the powerhouse. There's lots of bench where you can sit and relax.
ice cream.
And there's also an ice cream parlor where you could purchase your ice cream and cool down.
And you go round and round.
Yes, we're going round and around.
Round.
Look, on top there's 3 deer. This actually the pathway, it takes you around, right, into the powerhouse. So this is actually beautiful, a beautiful walkway which you go around that take you to the powerhouse. And look at this amazing view over here. It's beautiful. Wow, look at this amazing view, guys. It is so beautiful. This is actually the pathway that takes you around, that goes right into the powerhouse. The scenery is really, really breathtaking.
I can see the bell.
It is so beautiful. Look at the flower.
That flower, Emma?
It's very colorful. It's beautiful.
Pink.
Yes, orange actually. Look at the bird. Ethan, are you tired? Yes. You're eating a leaf?
No, you can't come on. You're going to run in the water.
No, it's dangerous.
Yeah, if you don't, you're going to run in the water.
Yes, if Ethan comes out of the stroller, he'll be running around everywhere.
And then we're going to have to go get a diver, go get him. You're going to go with
Here is it, guys. This is the powerhouse. So now we will be heading to the castle. Are you excited to go to the castle, Emma?
Yeah.
Me too.
It's Daddy.
Are they excited too? Yay!
Are you ready, Mommy?
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Yes. Look at the birds. There's lots of chairs, seats where you can sit and relax, right, Emma?
Yeah.
Enjoy this beautiful weather.
Of course, it's a round island.
Okay.
Wait, Daddy.
Whatever.
Wait, Mommy.
The water is so clean.
One of the cleanest water in the world.
One of the cleanest river in the world, right? Fresh water. You can actually drink it, right? They said it's 96%, 97% clean, right?
Wait, Daddy.
There's lots of speedboat.
This is my mommy.
Ethan, everywhere you get Elmo. Elmo is your favorite? Yes?
Elmo is storing just as
Elmo is storing everywhere, like you.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite. And my friends have fun.
Yes, so we have to make our entrance now to go into the castle. This is the pathway to go into the garden, right, of the castle. So now we'll be entering the garden of the castle, the flower garden.
If you want to get back up on top, you're either going to take the path about halfway up the hill, and then the other path will take you right back up on top, or the only other way is to come through the castle.
Beautiful flowers.
Yeah, but you got to take the sidewalk up about halfway up the hill. You'll see where the path comes right back and takes you up top.
Maybe not so.
We are making our way to the garden. Over here is the entrance to the garden. And there's a huge ship in the background. Wow, look how beautiful they crafted the flower plant. It's not a huge garden, small, beautiful garden, and there's lots of weddings that take place here. A lot of people come here to take their pictures for the wedding or any occasion. It's very simple and beautiful. The most important thing is the view. Once you're in the garden, you have an amazing view. Right here, look at this view from here. Over, you can see there's a small water fountain on the bottom. And there's crafted plants and trees. And this is actually the view from the castle of the garden when you're looking down. It's a beautiful scenery. This is a view from the castle from outside. There's different entrance you could go into the castle.
Building a grand hotel. So it's not too big. And they built like a grand.
We're inside of the castle, guys. So I'll just show you guys around. It's beautiful. This is a dining room.
He's putting bags.
Look at the castle, Emma. It's so beautiful. It's a gorgeous castle. And it's amazing view from here. Look. Wow. We're entering the family suite. Over here is a family suite.
George Boldt.
And over here is Mrs. George Boldt's suite. Have his bed, his sitting area, have a fireplace. And over here is Mrs. Boldt's suite. It's beautiful. Lucy Boldt's suite. So this is actually the whole family suite. This is Clover Boldt's suite. Over here is the Clover reception room. Here's the overview from the window from one of the castle looking down. So we're going to continue going to the castle to show you guys how beautiful and amazing, gorgeous this castle is. They have some beautiful painting also.
Did you see it?
No, not yet. When's the next one on?
Thank you. Refurbished.
This is actually the third floor, right? Oh, so this castle actually have 3 floors. So we're actually on the 3rd floor. So as you get closer, you'll see how beautiful the design is. That's actually the ceiling of the castle. It's beautiful. And this is a gorgeous view looking down. This is actually a little history here. Lucy Boldt died at her home in New York City at the age of 45. This is also another history here. And this is the view from the window of the castle looking down. This castle actually have 365 windows. So each window is actually, each window represents each day of the year. So it's a huge castle, with lots of windows, and lots of beautiful, beautiful views all around. This is actually part of the castle that's not finished, right? Renovate. It was actually left unfinished.
The Boldt Castle, Hart Island.
You have a map of the castle? Wow, that's so cool.
Mom. Down.
Yes. We're actually at the top of the castle. You could call it the balcony because it's a overlook from the castle looking down to the bay. Look at that gorgeous view.
Hi, Daddy.
This is actually the top of the castle. There's lots of stairs to walk up, but it's all worth it. There's also a gift shop where you can purchase all your merchandise and souvenir of the castle. They have some beautiful souvenir and merchandise. What are you guys doing? Sword fighting? Ethan.
Stop bothering me.
The dinosaur.
But the earth things that way.
There's lots of books. Lots of books you can purchase to know the history of the castle. This is the library over here. Emma, come here, please. Thank you.
A library.
Yes, this is a library over here.
A library.
Emma, come here. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this beautiful video of the Thousand Island and the Boldt Castle. As you can see in the background, that is our hotel, the river edge, and we actually have a balcony view, so when you're outside you could see the view of the St. Lawrence River. And that is our Uncle Sam boat tour. And here is another Uncle Sam boat tour. And over here is the booth where you can purchase your tickets to go to the boat tour. Hi Emma, did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Yes? Did you love the castle? It's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the beautiful islands. Ethan, did you have fun today?
Yeah.
Yeah, high five. Give me a high five. You little naughty boy. Thank you guys so much for watching our video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.